I'll read back a little bit here. Start over here. Sure, but according to the Quran, the sun is running to a resting place, and if it is talking about the sun, and if it is talking about the sun running to a resting place somewhere in the galaxy, well, where in the galaxy is the sun asking permission of Allah to rise again? Rise over what? Where is that throne the sun and moon prostrate under to get their luminosity? Sully mouthed, lumen. Daniel went on with, believe it or not, in the Quran, the sun and moon travel in boats, similar to their offspring Noah. In other words, they travel in big boats, arks. Sully stopped walking. Although it was dark, Daniel could see she looked disturbed by what he revealed to her. You're kidding me. You've got to be kidding me, she said. If you don't believe me, I've got a Yusuf Ali Quran in my truck that I can show you. In the Quran on the internet they have now, well, it's quite different. It actually sounds like it supports the notion that the earth rotates around the sun, not like it has it in the Arabic and all English versions of the Quran that they are pulling off the net to try to make Islam sound kind of scientific. And you want to know something else the Quran says about all these stars overhead? No, what? Asked Sally in a monotone as if in deep thought. The planets, like Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. Well, the planets that you can see are called lamps, and they are located in the lowest heaven, which, if you study Islam, is our atmosphere. I kid you not. That Quran has it that the lowest sky, or heaven, is in our atmosphere. And if you try to leave the zones of the earth, like our infidel American and Russian astronauts were able to do, without any authority from Allah in the least, in at least one of the zones, these lamps, planets, will become, quote, flaming missiles at you. And guess what? What? Asked Sally, looking down as she continued to walk with Daniel. They are to guard the heaven to keep Satan and us from spying on Allah. Can you imagine that? Every time you see a shooting star, it's Venus or Mars or Jupiter, well, basically any visible planets, flying at flaming speed to stop Satan or evil ones or us from spying on Allah in this heaven. It's the flaming planets actually shooting at you to keep you from going to the moon. Yet again, infidel Americans went to the moon. That, Mo said, is in the midst of the zones. You've got to be kidding, said Sally, smiling and looking disturbed at the same time. She then asked, but are you sure they are doing this in the atmosphere of the earth? Couldn't that be metaphoric? Daniel laughed and said, the clear signs handed down that the Quran calls itself aren't so clear, are they? Sally didn't say anything. Daniel said, Muslims try to say that these 7 skies, or 7 heavens above us, are zones that can't be reached. That the universe is only in the first zone, and not in our atmosphere like the Quran really has it. But again, Muhammad taught that the moon is located in the midst of those zones, which would place the moon outside the universe. Sally continued walking and said, really? Daniel then said, according to Tabari, Muhammad said the sun and moon get their radiance by prostrating under the throne of Allah. That's how they get their luminosity. Do you think they get that someplace in the galaxy? No. You get a strong feeling that it's when they go down below the horizon, as if the sun ever truly, moves when it comes to night and day. But according to Mo, the moon isn't as radiant as the sun because of where it prostrates under Allah's throne. Of course, if you study Islam, sounds like Mo says the sun and moon have butlers. I kid you not. Butlers that give them clothes of radiance. So, it's hard which lie you want to believe from Mo. Mo says the sun gets the brightest clothing, of course. Oh, and the moon, all that stuff Mo says about clothes. Yeah. And in the Quran, all that stuff Mo says about clothes for the moon in the Hadith is contradicted as to why the moon isn't as bright as the sun. According to the Quran, and another Hadith, the reason why the moon isn't as bright as the sun is because an angel brushed off its radiance with its wings. Or is it wing? That the moon used to be as bright as the sun until that happened. Isn't that just incredibly scientific? And yet, there are people sawing heads off for such a belief. Sally stopped walking, then asked softly, "You're not lying, are you?" Daniel smiled and said, "It really sounds stupid, doesn't it?" "Are you sure it's not metaphoric?" asked Sally. "If metaphor means lying, then it's metaphoric. The thing is, though, to me, it all proves Mo to be a false prophet. Deuteronomy, the very part of the Torah Muslims claim is talking about Mo, cancels Mo out as being a prophet when it says if a prophet is wrong in just one prophecy, he is not to be feared. In other words, he's a false prophet. Do you think Mo got all his prophecies right?" Sally looked about and said, It doesn't sound like it." When Sally and Daniel got back to the truck, Daniel said, "Well, we're back. I sure hope I can get this thing idling long enough to not freeze us inside. Oh, by the way, I'm all out of toilet paper if nature calls for you. I'll have to let you use these letters I used to put with my packets with the CDs. Unfortunately, I made thousands of them, and all for nothing. For I've decided early on to no longer use them inside my paper plate packets. Just tape a CD down with a marble rolling around as a way to help create mystery and possibly desire to open up the packets to see what's inside. Some of those CDs will actually have a video of Neville reading the note you can now use as toilet paper. When Sally, you can use as toilet paper. When Sally and Daniel got into the truck, Sally was shivering. Sally asked, "When are you going to have a cigarette?" "I don't smoke," said Daniel. Sorry about the smell. The guy who had this truck before me must have been a 6-pack a day guy. Personally, I think my company gave this stinky old truck to me in the hopes of getting rid of me. They gave me a black truck in the summertime and gave me this white one now that it's getting cold. My dispatcher really don't like me very much." Daniel sat down in his driver's seat, then said, "Well, I'd really love to heat you up with my hands, but I'm a married man. Besides, the way you look, I might want to do more than heat you up, but get you hot. You definitely have those female qualities. A faithless Christian guy would have a very difficult time resisting. Probably start to heating you up with his hands for starters. Suddenly there was a musical sound Daniel wasn't familiar with. "What's that?" he asked. Sally looked shifty-eyed, then said, "It's my cell phone." "What?" asked Daniel, stunned. "You can get phone access out here? Man, what system are you using?" "It's a text message from my husband. I mean boyfriend." "Husband?" asked Daniel. "Well, he acted like a possible husband," said Sally. What's his text say?" asked Daniel. "Is he cussing you out?" "He wants me to call him," said Sally, looking scared. "Well, call him. Tell him that you think he should become a Muslim, being that Muslim men can beat their wives if they just fear rebellion from their wives, like Quran 434 says they can. Besides, it might be great to have a creep like that with his patootie in the air 5 times a day, every day for the rest of his life on a prayer rug. By the way, when you're done, maybe you can let me call my sicko so she can sleep tonight." "What will you say when she sees that it's not your cell you're calling her on?" asked Sally. "I'll tell her the truth, that I picked up a cute babe in distress," said Daniel. "And that will make it so she can sleep?" asked Sally with surprise. Daniel thought and said, "She knows I've changed a lot in the past few months. Plus she knows I love her enough to not cheat on her, even if the girl before me is a knockout. Is she a Christian like you?" "No. Uh, no. She came out of she came out of a Shinto household, and I think she's an atheist. But every man in his own order, says the scriptures. I pray for her, but leave it up to God on whether or not she sees the light." Sully then Sully thought and said, "I'd like to call him outside if you don't mind." "You'd like privacy? Okay, but I don't know why. Are you afraid he'll talk you into coming back and you don't want to appear like he has control over you to me? I'm nothing to you, you know. I I just need to make it private. By the way, maybe I can show him to you on my show him to you on my face. You do get the internet, true?" "Sure. I mean, if I can use Qualcomm, I can get the internet. By the way, I have 2 computers, one for making CDs for rest areas, and one for taking into truck stops if the internet in my truck breaks down," smiled Daniel. Sully got out of the truck and walked out into the snowy field. As she talked, Daniel noticed that she was whispering. So hard was it to hear her that Daniel gave up and back, went up onto his bunk. He pulled out his small laptop and started it up. Daniel smiled when he found out that the internet worked. Immediately, Daniel went to MySpace and typed in Sally Woods. When he found her, he found out that she did live in Twin Falls, like she said. She didn't seem to have any friends for some strange reason, and Daniel took it as odd. Daniel saw the files for photos and clicked on it. When the photos came up, Daniel felt his heart beat fast and felt a bit lightheaded as blood rushed to his nether region because the pictures of pretty Sally were very sexually stimulating. I'll end it here.